Welcome to Fantasy Filmball. My name is Dylan. Today we have a review I am so excited to bring to all of you out there. It's a little bit late due to my recent work trip out in Las Vegas. The first thing I want to say, Sin City is not the place where I would want to spend 2 weeks. And secondly, it cost me to miss not just one, but 2 press screenings for the Michael Jackson biopic here in Philadelphia. It makes me have to face the cardinal sin of being an enjoyer of cinema, is seeing reviews and thoughts from other people before I have the ability to form my own opinions about the said movie. Man, I could do a whole rant about that subject matter right there, but I do want to bring you my honest thoughts about the Michael Jackson biopic film, and in fact, because I am recording this a little bit late, I have the ability to say inside this review that Michael has the highest grossing opening weekend for a biopic both domestically and worldwide of all time. The King of Pop is truly doing royal things. However, before we fully dive into my review today, if you are new here to Fantasy Filmball, hello, my name is Dylan. On this channel, we turn awards season into fantasy sports, whether that's through our Fantasy Football Inspired game, which you can join in the link down in the description, or how we do our year-round awards predictions. In fact, we have a brand new video coming out later this week diving into director, both screenplay categories, and the brand new one, Best Casting, or through film reviews just like this one here, where I talk about most of the new upcoming Oscar hopefuls. And the film that we're talking about today is one that I've been hyping up for awards for it feels like ages, and Judgment Day has finally came and passed and finally presented itself. And before I dive into the review, the first thing I want to say, so you know where I'm coming from in terms of my excitement level for the Michael Jackson biopic film, is I started a game all the way back in 2020 where I called it my most anticipated movie list, where a film that's my most anticipated, once I see it, whatever film currently has a publicly released trailer, then takes that spot over. Michael held the crown ever since I saw Avatar: Fire and Ash, and now that I have officially seen Michael Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, will be holding that mantle. And now with all that out of the way, the very first thing I want to say is Jaafar Jackson is Michael. From his very first scene, he's facing the window, he turns to look at the camera, he delivers his first line, and the entire theater at my Las Vegas IMAX screening audibly gasp in unison at how perfectly he captures his uncle's essence. What you're seeing feels like a hologram of the King of Pop. Jaafar embodies his uncle like no other, from the iconic voice to the generation-defining dance moves to the demeanor of the biggest pop star ever. Considering this is Jaafar's first ever acting credit, he blew my expectations off the wall. He pulls off the best lead acting performance in a music biopic, I would say, and maybe all time. I put him up in the ranks of Austin Butler and Elvis and Jamie Foxx for Ray, in my opinion. And speaking of performers, we have to take a moment to appreciate Giuliano Cruvaldi for being an absolute ray of light as young MJ. Just like Jaafar, Valdi has the vocal chops, the electric dance moves, and commands the screen at just 9 years old during filming, and I've seen a lot of hate thrown at Coleman Domingo online for his take as Joe Jackson. Some out there are even clamoring for a Razzie nomination for the 2-time Oscar nominee, but have you seen the real Joe Jackson? This is a role that demands someone to ham it up, someone over the top, someone almost immediately unsettling to the eye, and Domingo leans all the way in. These three elevate what could easily go on to become the highest grossing biopic of all time. Another chart-topping aspect of Michael is its pace. This movie moonwalks by at 100 miles per hour, and it honestly feels necessary for this type of biopic. Sure, I can admit the story structure is checking the ABCs of the genre. You have the youth, the rise to fame, the personal struggles, and then the ultimate success. But for me, what really works is how Michael frames his journey, breaking free of his father's shackles and becoming his own man. Honestly, that's what Michael is all about. Someone learning to stand up for themselves, redefining who they are as a performer, and doing it in glowing fashion. As an audience, we want to enjoy ourselves. At my sold out screening, the theater was rocking like Robin. People were literally shaking their bodies down to the ground during the credits and could not stop loving what Michael was giving. Audiences want the recreations, they want the smash hits, the lifelike performances, and Michael absolutely delivers all of that. Michael tells the rise to fame the world's biggest pop star, Michael Jackson. From his early days performing with his brothers in the Jackson 5, managed by his father, pushed to his absolute limits, all the way to becoming the best performer of all time. The film spans the first half of his thrilling career, including his solo breakout Off the Wall, the instantly genre-defining thriller, and concludes after Jackson submits himself as a solo artist, moving away from the Jackson clan with the release of Bad. And I have to say, knowing the absolute production hell Michael went through on his journey to the big screen, through the constant delays, the massive reshoots, and the challenge of packing in one of the most prolific public personas of the modern era, this creative team had a tall task to live up to, and the fact that Michael is this enjoyable is a testament for the team banding together and cooking up something this electric. Watching it with a crowd of superfans dressed head to toe in merch and costumes truly rocked my world. But this is a film review. I have to be honest. I have to dish out some criticism because this is not a perfect movie. Definitely not. But let's be honest. Some of those critics are calling this movie, I mean, Michael, just say the line. Personally speaking, my biggest issue comes down to the direction. I personally don't have a major issue with Antoine Fuqua as a creative. When he was announced, I know a lot of people were let down due to his track record, but he's got some heaters. Obviously, Training Day helped propel Denzel Washington to his first Best Actor Oscar, and Fuqua has made some solid action flicks over his career, but has he ever brought some real sense of style behind the lens? I would say not really, and for me, that's where Michael falls a little bit flat. I raved about how James Mangold captured the essence of live performance in A Complete Unknown, or how Baz Luhrmann brought that bombastic flair perfectly to Elvis, but Fuqua doesn't quite bring a unique perspective to the biopic genre. The concert scenes are fun because the music is timeless, Jaafar is killing it, but the camera itself doesn't feel like a character, it kind of just does random stuff. If we're watching Billie Jean, let me watch Jaafar Jackson perform Billie Jean. I don't need the constant cutaways to the crowd or the extra glitz and glamour behind the lens. Like I said in the intro of this video, I missed a few press screenings and the opportunity to see Michael early on, which was pretty upsetting because I try to avoid reviews before indulging in the medium. I don't want my opinion shaped before I walk into a showing. I want my reactions to be raw and honest and truthful. But that's not how the cards were dealt for me. The embargo lifts, and I have to just say, come on guys, we could not be serious with some of these scores. A 39 on Metacritic. Some of you, Michael, come back in here again. I found Michael to be an absolute blast. I found it to be so fun because of the incredible lead performance by Jaafar Jackson, the head-bopping bangers from MJ's catalog, and a genuinely impressive craftsmanship on all fronts. The recreation of the iconic Michael Jackson costumes, the makeup and prosthetics done to create the various nose jobs that Michael has throughout, or the period hairstyling for the entire ensemble, and especially these recreated stages. It's all really strong work. It all comes together to make you feel like you're not just watching a Michael Jackson biopic, you just believe that you're actually there in the moment, especially with a crowd of superfans around you in the IMAX surround system. It felt like I was at the Motown concert. It felt like I was on the set of Thriller. I felt like I was there in the scene, and that is the movie magic that we come to the cinemas for. That's a large reason why I personally enjoyed Michael so much, and I do think there's such a disconnect between general audience members like myself and the very out there highbrow critics. Critics wanted one film, but Michael delivered on what it knows its audience desires. It gives them what they want, and it does it so well. Whether it's Jaafar basically reviving his uncle, the technical elements transporting you back, or the film moving at a smooth, digestible pace, I can agree. There's definitely criticism to throw at this film, and I would have loved to see it go a little bit deeper with some of its themes and its aspects. I would have liked to see some stuff of Diana Ross. I would have liked to dive into some more of Michael's public controversies and his flings and all of the stuff that made Michael Jackson the enigma that he is. What I can say is we all read the articles. We know they filmed the stuff. They tried to do it. Legal clauses and legality stuff prevented them from doing that. And there's even some critics out there bashing this movie saying, I want to see this specific stuff, which in the timeline of this movie hasn't even occurred yet. I'm not going to ding Michael for what it's not trying to do. I'm going to praise it for what it does accomplish. For example, weird comparison here. You can go into a Fast and Furious movie wanting precisely edited car chases or one-of-a-kind stunts or a story with a deeper meaning, but the Fast family aren't trying to make a Tom Cruise level spectacle. They're giving their core demo exactly what they're going in for. Now, it's a whole other conversation whether they actually accomplish those goals. I mean, that's why Fast X Part 2 hasn't been greenlit yet, but I digress. We're not here to talk about the Fast family. We're here to talk about the Michael Jackson movie because I genuinely don't understand how some people land on a score that low without coming in with some kind of bias, whether it's wanting a film diving into Michael Jackson's legal controversies, but like I said before, legally they can't do that. They shot it, but they can't show it, or just the general fatigue with the music biopic genre. We saw Springsteen last year crash and burn at the box office and get mid-level critical reception. I just don't understand how people can watch Springsteen and be like, yeah, I like that, but then here be like, that's an abomination. Because when these music biopics work for their intended demographic, they really show out and they clamor for more. Bohemian Rhapsody, $910 million worldwide. Elvis became one of the biggest films of 2022 during a recovering box office. And more recently, A Complete Unknown had one of the best leg multipliers of 2024, 6.4 times return from its opening weekend. That's generational type stuff. These films are designed to be fun. They connect emotionally by letting their icons be rejuvenated on the big screen. They hit their audience with exactly what they came for. To make a quick parallel, I was talking to a member of our Discord server, which you can join the link down in the description, but Banjo made a great take, and I know some people may hear this and be like, oh my gosh, what are you saying? This is crazy. This is insane. Blah, 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 blah. But like, hear him out. He was comparing Michael to Mad Max Fury Road, because Fury Road is driven by immersive visuals, non-stop action, and a generational craftsmanship level work. The story is super minimal. People don't come out of Fury Road being like, oh my gosh, these are some of the best written characters of all time. This is a story that has so much emotional resonance and so much thematic depth. No, what they're talking about is the elements that work so well, how much fun they had on the ride, how impressive certain aspects were. And I just don't see how those same things can't be applied to Michael, which arguably you could say has a stronger narrative, has more memorable acting performances, and brings these iconic hits back to life. And people are out there treating it like it's some sort of cinematic abomination by critics at large. It just doesn't make sense to me. To conclude this super long review, Michael is one of the 2026 best so far in my opinion because it's backed by a truly incredible lead performance by Jaafar Jackson. Even those who have major issues with the film can all come together and agree Jaafar is a one-of-a-kind talent inside this production. Michael does a wonderful job of making you feel like you're a part of the moment. It's the definition of a crowd pleaser if you allow yourself to get sucked in. But sadly, at least in my opinion, there's some people out there who don't want this movie to succeed, and that's a pretty weak way to approach any film. You should go into every movie that you're watching, whether it's a music biopic, if it's a film intended for children, if it's a high art international film playing at a festival. You should go in wanting to enjoy the movie, not with your mind made up that this isn't for me. Just because there's a line of subtitles doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, I can't watch it now. Just because it's an animated movie doesn't mean like, oh my gosh, this is just meant for toddlers. Every movie is designed to be enjoyed by all audiences out there. I would say go see Michael with an open mind. Go in ready to feel something and let Michael heal your world. But since this is an awards channel at the end of the day, let's move into some awards prospects for the Michael movie. And as I said at the beginning, this is a film I have been propelling for Oscars ever since it was announced. I thought it would be too big to fail, that critics would not have their knives this sharp out for it. I thought maybe it could get like a 50 on Metacritic. 39 makes no sense to me whatsoever. But yeah, so picture's probably out of the cards now. Now, if this has insane legs, like what it's doing so far, clearly the audience scores are through the roof. It has some of the best post-track numbers since Sinners, which let that speak for itself. Its road to a picture nomination is going to be very, very difficult. However, its road to a nomination in costumes and makeup and hairstyling, I think is a lot more likely than what people out there are trying to lead you on to believe. These are two branches that historically do not care how strong your movie is, how well received your movie is. They care about the work inside the film. We've seen films that have 0 other nominations get in here. We've seen films that make no money get in here. We see films like The Suicide Squad get panned by critics and win this category. So I just think that in a year where we get shortlist, it can make makeup, it can make costumes, the guild will show out for it. And at that point, if you're on a shortlist, it's a 50-50 shot for the nomination with the Bake Off. So those are 2 nominations I still have on the cards for Michael. Now, if it is making insane money at the box office, this is the audience hit of the year, they can power it through the cultural zeitgeist all season long. Picture could still be on the table. At that point, Jaafar, Jackson, and Coleman Domingo come back as well. Even without Picture, Golden Globes, they break up the lead categories in 6 drama, 6 music comedy. I can see Jaafar getting in over at the Globes. Domingo may be in a lineup of 6. Also, the SAG, the Actor Awards, it's a super baby, it's a biopic. This is the stuff they go out for even when it doesn't get an Oscar nomination. So those are places I could see this continue to show up. And like we're talking about, if it's in Picture, maybe we could see stuff like production design, casting, sound, editing show up. Maybe not the Oscars, maybe for shortlist, maybe at their guilds. I just think there's people out there saying Michael is 0, it's nothing, it's not going to be brought up again throughout all of award season. I honestly can't see that. I think at minimum, the craft guilds will show up for it. At that point, maybe Oscar shortlist can happen. At that point, it's like a 50-50 considering there's 5 actual nominations and 10 films making those shortlist. All in all, we have reached the conclusion of this review of Michael. I hope it came out pretty well. As you see, it's a little bit more off the cuff. Let alone me having to record this video late. I actually had to record this twice because the first time I recorded, it didn't pick up my microphone. It was coming off of the laptop itself and my audio sounded pretty bad. Honestly, I think that review was more streamlined. That review was more professional, you could say. This review was a lot more just like, here's why I like the movie. Listen to me talk about why I like the movie. But if you made this far, thank you so much for watching. It means so much that you want to hang out with me and listen to my thoughts on the Michael Jackson biopic. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below if you made this far. Consider joining our Discord. It's just a bunch of people who love movies, who love award season, just chatting, just yapping each and every day. A like helps our channel continue to grow, and a subscription keeps you up to date with everything that we're doing here on Fantasy Filmball. But until next time, my name's Dyl. This is Fantasy Filmball. Peace.